Well, I want to discuss this essay
Mm-hmm.
um, written by T.S. Eliot about Hamlet and his problem. In this essay, Eliot says that Hamlet is a kind of art piece.
Yeah. Okay.
So, as artworks, there are different perspectives to see the play, and depending on your perspective, is the like the message you get from it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so you can see Hamlet as a what, a hero, anti-hero. How can you see
Yeah,
the character, or that
sure.
varies depending on the author or the
Uh,
people who are reading the
yeah, I
play?
think it depends on your perspective and belief about Shakespeare
Yeah.
because
For instance, you can always take a try to take an Elizabethan perspective of the play, of what the audience would understand or feel while watching the play being represented in the theater, or you could take a more modern perspective of what we feel today about it, such as like we
Yeah.
discussed
Hmm.
in the Merchant of Venice, where we
Yes.
okay.
feel very empathic for Shylock, although we are not supposed to.
For instance, that would be, for example, regarding Hamlet. It would be, for example, for us. I mean, for some author, for example, Knight, he sees him as someone who is inhuman, in the sense that he's always surrounded by death. Knight says that he's death himself, and he, in a way, I believe he does not belong in the world of the play, just as Malvolio in Twelfth Night, because, as I said before, Hamlet is not does not act the same way that other characters do. And as you said before, Matthias, we need to take into account the different contexts. So, for example, if we put Hamlet in today's world, for example, at least for me, he's the most human character, since he's the only one who cares about his father's death.
Definitely, I think it's very curious how everybody seems to just forget the death of a king. Like,
Yeah, I mean, was he a bad king, a good king? What do you think, Pablo?
You record me now.
Well, okay, okay.
Well, um, about the question if King Hamlet was a good king or not.
Yes.
Well, to be honest,
To
it,
be or not to be.
to be or not to be honest, it is almost impossible to answer that question because, um, aside from the fact that we know that he basically defeated this Fortinbras guy in this trial by
Try by comment, yeah,
combat,
this
and
fight.
in his fight and all that.
I think that's a pretty nice idea, trial by combat, to solve a war. The, can you imagine, I don't know, Trump boxing with Bachelet
Yeah,
over an issue?
yeah.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's the only thing we know about King Hamlet. We don't know how good of a king he was. How bad was he?
But
We know nothing.
but
as you said,
but there are
it's kind of I don't know, thought provoking that the fact that everyone is celebrating King Claudius and just uh, sometime after King Hamlet's death.
and for instance, just as I mentioned before, um, people don't really mourn for Hamlet Jr. or I mean Senior,
Senior, yeah. For
and nobody either seems to care about Hamlet Jr. not becoming a king. And why
it's
is that?
yeah, it's like it is
Why
natural.
does
I
nobody
don't.
say anything? Is it his name? Is there something wrong with the Hamlets?
Yeah, or maybe because Claudius is a better king than the previous one.
but right at the moment he became a king, he hasn't been a good king yet.
Oh yeah.
But Hamlet is very peculiar character. in the sense that I think he overthinks everything.
Yeah, he takes too much time in thinking about plotting his revenge, and in the end, in a way, of course, he gets his revenge, but it's too late for all of the characters.
And remember what we and remember that Hamlet at that moment adopts the role of the Avenger. Okay, we know
Yes,
that,
yeah, yeah.
but was he a hero? Was he an anti-hero? I
Uh,
mean, in his eyes, in Hamlet's eyes, he's a hero. He's avenging his father. He's
I don't think he's
honoring
a
him.
hero because, well, by definition, a hero does not kill people.
yes,
He cannot be a hero. He can be an anti-hero, or he can be a villain.
yeah. I believe that. Well, at least for me, he's an anti-hero since he tries to do something good, but the means are really questionable.
And let's not forget something. How many people died because of Hamlet?
Yeah, I mean, his hatred brought everybody down in the sense that Laertes suffered because his father died, his sister died, and he became full with hatred because of the hatred that Hamlet felt.
But what is the origin of all this hatred? Of all of these incomprehensible set of Hamlet's feelings?
I'd say that the origin is Hamlet's mother marrying Claudius.
I do believe so too. His mother, it's Gertrude, who's the root of all these issues. And well, as T.S. Eliot posits, the feelings Hamlet feels are so strong and so deep and hard to describe that Shakespeare just cannot put it into words. This search that poets later on had, that you were meant to feel at the same time you were reading. He says that Shakespeare could not do that. He could not find a way of actually expressing that feeling, and that is because Hamlet cannot do it himself. He has such feelings that she cannot really cast upon the queen because it's his mom.
So you are saying that the feelings that Hamlet uh, feel um, has not a signifier.
That's kind of exactly what I mean.
So you are trying to link this with the meaninglessness in a sense.
Yeah, I think that, well, in a way, that's what make a that's what makes a shortcut, cortocircuito. How do you say that in English?
Short
Short
circuit.
circuit.
Short circuit.
Short circuit in Hamlet's mind, because although he at the beginning he's already a peculiar character, as I said, but then he, I don't know, escalates
Yeah,
in a way
Yeah,
in his train of thought and all
yeah.
that.
He's kind of a snowball. He's kind of gathering momentum because, uh, well, I believe that this is very related to what you said before about Hamlet overthinking things. I don't believe that Hamlet overthinks,
Why not?
because I believe that Hamlet is kind of a genius. He's kind of a romantic. He's kind of an existentialist at the same time. So it's kind of a weird
Will you
combination.
say that he's a perfectionist?
Yeah, indeed, he's a perfectionist.
Well, he's always looking for the perfect answer in a
yeah,
way.
Yeah,
and
and he's very clever. These puns he comes up with at the very moment. He's he's a genius. You can't deny that.
yeah,
And his whole plan uh, to show the true conscience of the king with the whole play within the play.
yeah, that's something really meta in a way because well, it has. We need to take into consideration, for example, what Knight says in the sense that Hamlet finds the meaning of life in a way, and the meaning is that life does not have a specific meaning. There is no real truth, and that's why he's so obsessed by death. For example, the to be or not to be solely lucky, or the one that is with Yorick,
Yorick.
yeah, with Yorick, that
Yorick the
all,
Skull.
yeah, with Yorick's skull and the skull, and that all life is something really short, and nothing makes sense, and he's the only one to see that in the play. It's like he's a puppet and he knows who's pulling the strings.
And that's why Knight in his article calls him inhuman as well. But I believe that that perspective is kind of very biased towards Claudius.
It's like an apology to Claudio's actions.
He tries to justify everything, but Claudius begins by murder. So regardless of whether he's a good king or not, he's a murderer
Yeah,
to begin with.
yeah. We need to in the play there is. I mean, we need to take into consideration that.
Um,
Yeah,
well, I think that the root of Hamlet questioning a lot of things or everything
yeah.
is
Basically,
stems from the fact or from the ghost's apparition, because as we discussed in class, I don't know, the the interaction between Hamlet and the ghost, it's something that changes everything in Hamlet's life, because he's
yeah.
as you say, is a very cultivated person.
And that's
You mean when
just
he started the whole ghostification process, in which basically everything that Hamlet does from that moment until the end has to do or is related with death?
and this process of ghostification is exactly the snowball thing I just said. As he gathers momentum, because everything that happens during the first acts uh, are breaking down piece by piece Hamlet's identity. Because to begin with, he was already kind of mad because of his mother marrying
His own.
with Claudius.
Yeah,
He just hated that, and that's the beginning of everything. And then with the ghost, he finds out about his father. Then
he has a reason. He
he has
has
the
a reason
Ophelia
to.
treason. Then he has the how what was the name of the two friends?
Rosencrantz and
Rosencrantz.
Guildenstern,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
They too betray him as well.
Yeah, and
So slowly they tear him apart. So
He's
we
kind of losing his identity.
he is indeed. That's why he becomes a ghost. But
So same as Shylock in the Merchants of
Merchants of
Venice.
Venice.
and another thing I had related um that exact thought with is how Hamlet is unable to just kill Claudius. Well, why doesn't he just do it? And I think that it's because he's a scholar. He's a scholar. A scholar is not supposed to be aggressive or
He takes his
cold-blooded.
time.
Exactly. He at the beginning, I would even say that he hesitated a lot on whether to kill or not to kill, and that's why he makes this play within the play to decide whether he would go for
Go
the
for,
murder.
yeah.
Um, you mentioned that Hamlet was some kind of romantic poet, something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, romantic.
he's like a poet because he's so clever and so emotional, because everything that happens comes not only from the queen but from inside himself. These things that he creates within his own mind, it's consuming him. His love for his mom, his love for Ophelia and for his friends is so deep that losing this little by little destroys him. And he's a romantic, he's an existentialist, and that's why they to be or not to be.
But
And that
romanticism uh, surgió, how do you say it?
Arises.
arises
Arises
Arises.
later.
much later. Romanticism is, I don't know, between 1800, 1850 or so, and then existentialism is even later on, 19th century.
So it would be like something as a
Yeah,
proto
it's a
romanticism.
whole Shakespeare Damus thing, you know.
He was way ahead of his time.
Indeed, and that's why somehow Hamlet is so difficult to understand. It happens that Hamlet is not an Elizabethan character,
Yes,
just like you said about
exactly.
Malvolio, and he's not a modern character. He's kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
So I think that Knight in his article fails to see the position of Hamlet in this like anachronism.
Yeah,
Anachronism.
Anachronism.
anachronism. Yeah, for Knight also he's not someone who is passionate since all the things that he wants to do is revenge, and he does not enjoy life in a way. He has no great pleasures, and for example, when he said, I mean, when he confesses his love for Ophelia, it's just something of the moment. It's not that he really feels that. At least that's why Knight says in his essay.
But
He,
he might have.
yeah, he might have, but
He
it's
might have.
just for a moment. It's not someone who feels and is passionate for something for a long time because he's just focused on revenge.
As we focused earlier on, well, before recording the video, oh, I don't remember the author. Well, you can speak about something else later. I'll go look for it.
Well, regarding the end, in my opinion, it's really interesting the way he kills Claudius, because
Why?
because he's not only avenging his father, he's avenging his mother as well, in the sense that
Yeah, because of the
yeah,
poison.
he first he stabs him with the poison sword,
Sword, yeah.
um, and then he he makes him drink the poison in the wine, the same poison that his mother drank when he died,
So
when she died.
why does he kill him twice?
Well, first from the stab wound, poison stab wound, and second from the poison
No,
he.
but why? Why does he give him the poison? Why kill him twice?
I think, well, I said it, but it's because he's avenging his father and his mother. I don't know if he's avenging himself as well, since all this Claudius murdering plot against his father um, makes him or turns him into a ghost.
Yeah, and somehow the to be or not to be talks a lot about his Hamlet's low self worth. I would say. I would say that his self worth is like zero. He doesn't care. He doesn't. Even though he doesn't kill
Emo.
himself,
Yeah.
yeah. Even though he doesn't kill himself, he doesn't really care if he dies either.
Yeah, because
Yeah, but
life
and
has.
remember that also the whole to be or not to be was not only about living, dying, but also about he if he should actually avenge his father or not. He's in that moment he's questioning himself about everything.
Yeah, because as I said before, he does not find he does not find a meaning in anything. So that's why he's so dark in a way, so complex and so uh, what can I say? It's not depressive. It's another so gloomy.
Melancholy.
Yeah, so melancholic. Yeah,
Well, I
Well,
think that's it.
that's it.
I